My name is Chinonso. Hello, my name is Chinonso, and I'm your host in this project MI6, in which the goal is to help guide 6 Nigerian developers to finding jobs that pay in US dollars. And we're just in the very first week of it, and we've discussed quite a lot of things in our bi-weekly calls. And this is just running through all of the top ideas of week one. So first of all, it's a 3 months project, all right, and we're just very in the first week now. Now, the major problem, apart from all the scam jobs out there, the major problem with applying to jobs from Nigeria online is silence. You don't hear back, you don't hear nothing, and the problem with that is most job sites are aggregators, and I do not want to name any names, but most job sites are aggregators. And think of it like RSS feeds. They aggregate jobs from anywhere and put on their site. And with that, what happens is if you apply on such a site, then you don't hear back. The reason for that is because there's no recruiter at the back end looking at anything, right? And most job sites would like to draw attention to their job sites that they have, 10,000 jobs on AI or on JavaScript. And if you understand how the market is in the software SaaS space, the whole job applicants and recruiters is like a chicken and egg problem, right? Recruiters will always go to a job site that has more job applicants, and job applicants will go to a site that has more recruiters, right? So you have a chicken and egg problem, and most job sites which are SaaS platform want to solve that problem by aggregating jobs and putting it on their sites so that they can drive that traction, drive the marketing and things like that. And somehow, if you fall into that job site that has just aggregated jobs from anywhere they can find it, then if you apply to that job, then there's nobody that's really looking at the job, and that just goes into silence. Now, and that's why you don't hear back, right? That's why you don't hear back. So the other thing is to be sure that the jobs that you're applying for are remote, global, or remote EMEA. So that means that means the person on the recruiter at the back end is looking to hire globally, so from anywhere in the world, or is open to hiring from Africa. So so Nigeria, of course, Nigeria is in Africa, but largely, well, there are a few jobs that list countries in Africa that they can hire from. Sometimes Nigeria is skipped, right? So you can see Ghana, Kenya, and things like that, and they skip Nigeria, and it's fine. And they could do that for economic reasons, political reasons, administrative reasons, and that's fine, right? So you want to go to jobs that are listed as globally remote, or EMEA, or they specifically mention the country, your country, Nigeria, and it is what it should be. All right. Now, how do you solve this problem? I've already spoken about that. Is look for job that states that it's globally remote, or EMEA, or that specifically lists your country in it. But more importantly, what you should do is to cross-reference job postings with the company's career page to verify legitimacy. But it's not just to verify legitimacy, it's also to verify timeliness. I wouldn't subscribe to applying to jobs that are older than 2 weeks, because I think hiring, so an ideal hiring cycle takes about 30 days, right? But once somebody puts out a job advert, they want to hire as fast as possible, right? And because they want to hire as fast as possible, if you're seeing a job 2 weeks later, to be honest, that job hasn't lived on the internet for just 2 weeks, right? It's most likely longer than that, right? So give or take, you should add another 2 weeks to that. But generally, apply to jobs that are 2 weeks, that are less. Look for jobs that are less than 2 weeks old, right? Because it means that the recruiter first of all, it means that the job advert is fresh. It also means that the recruiter is actively recruiting. Jobs older than 2 weeks or a month old could be stale at that point. They might have candidates that have progressed, right, to later stages. And with that is, if they end up hiring somebody, unfortunately, they can just stop midway and just go quiet as well. And if you ever experience such, it just means that they probably hired somebody early on and probably the position is now closed, and they just freeze. They don't talk back, they don't mail you, they don't say anything. And that's how the market is, right? Do not be offended that happens. It happens. However, what I want you to do is to look for job sites that are relevant for what you want to, your tech stack, your strengths, weaknesses that you're familiar with. You can go on Google or on LinkedIn and, do search for top 10, top 20 job sites and apply there. And what you want to do is, and this is the assignments that we have for this week, is you want to build a daily practice of applying to different jobs. So let's say about 30 to 60 minutes. And the job should be on different job sites. And what you want to do with that is also, you want to track the rejections that you are getting, right? So you want to track, okay, I applied to 20 jobs and I got, technically you should get a rejection within 2 weeks to about 30 days. Anything longer than that is, no rejection is going to come afterwards, right? Well, maybe not. I've gotten rejection from a job that I applied maybe 3 months ago, and they just come back and wake up and so that happens. Something like that happens. But of course, if you don't hear back from a company in 2 weeks for a job you applied, max 30 days, then it doesn't really mean that they're progressing with you. That's because of how the market is, right? It means that they're not progressing with you, and that's what it should be. But the main assignment is to apply to as many jobs as possible and track where you get the most rejections. The goal is to get as many rejections as possible. The reason is because if you get rejections, then it means you're making progress. It means that there's somebody behind the scenes who is looking at your CV and filtering through that with many other candidates as well. So it means that the job site is probably valid, or the job itself is valid, and you also want to track that to ensure that, okay, I got rejection from this place and I didn't hear anything from this place. So it would mean that some are more legit than the others. Their recruiter sitting at the back end of this. All right, so you also want to cross-reference, I mentioned cross-referencing with company career pages. It's essential to avoid time wasting, right? So you want to cross-reference that when the job is, you can still apply to the job beyond just what the aggregator site has given you. Yep. So that's all for week 1. And yes, in the second week would run through a new set of challenges and a new set of assignments. Thank you.